Awesome. Okay. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Rich Mavroginis here with Gina Sakowski.
Sakowski, correct.
A good Irish name.
Russian name.
Russian name. Well, your beautiful blue eyes, it's easy to get confused, think that you're Irish. So there you go. So we're going to do about half an hour live seminar here. So hopefully you're tuned in and not having any problems viewing. You're viewing this live from Wallingford, Connecticut, from our studio here. Our studio is just a small room, and we have a green screen, and behind me you have your PowerPoint slide. So we're going to get started, and let's begin, and let's talk about our agenda. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, let's see. Move to the next slide. I'm doing that. So we're going to talk about live morning announcements. But before we get started on that, let's talk a little bit about Discover Video. So just very briefly, Discover Video has been doing this longer than anybody else. We recently won a really nice award, which is the Inc. 500. So we're one of the fastest growing companies in the country. We're actually, I think, number 2 or 5 or something in media, and we're a high number here in our state here in Connecticut. So we're doing well, and many of you are already customers.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of comments that the audio and video is very choppy.
Oh, so Michael, why don't you move your mouse to the right and close that viewer up on top. There we go. So Michael's our operator. We're going to talk about that. We have another monitor running, and I think that may have been interfering with the video. So hopefully we're all looking good right now. Everything's okay? Good. All right. So so we've been doing this for a long time. Michael's still new at it, but point is we sort of invented this space a long time ago. Let's talk about our agenda. So on our agenda, we're going to talk about what is live morning announcement. What is it? What else are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about some of the case studies. We've even got a video case study from one of our customers.
Yep. Cindy helped us out with that, right?
Yes, she did.
And you actually did the recording?
Yes, I did.
Cool.
We're going to talk about the benefits of morning announcements, what you need to do your morning announcements, and how morning announcements works.
Okay, so a little bit about how to do it.
Yes.
Right, so stay tuned. We're not going to go deep technical here. I noticed that we've got people from mostly teachers, educators, not a lot of IT people, but where are some of the viewers coming from?
I know we've got some in Connecticut, Texas, Ohio.
Yeah.
I think a couple in Pennsylvania.
Indiana. Hawaii.
Hawaii.
There's one from Hawaii, Aloha. So our viewing audience is sort of a national. I don't know if we have any international right now, but we could. And we're doing this live event via Devos. And we're using our own technology and using Streamsy, which I'll show you in a little moment, how that works. So that's our agenda. Let's get into it about what are the goals? What are we talking about for live morning announcements? Well, the idea is that you can reach every classroom with your announcements. Gone are the days when the principal got on the PA system and read tinny announcements. Nowadays, the students themselves do the live morning announcements, and that's broadcast throughout an entire school, throughout an entire school system, into every classroom where they view it on projectors, on desktops, on smartphones, on smart TVs, on digital signage displays. And optionally, it can be viewed at home, right? If you so provision it, parents can view the live morning announcements at home. You could also choose not to do live and just do the recording. Produce it as if it was live, do the recording, and then make it available for immediate on-demand viewing. That's all part of the same technology, all part of the same system. So who is doing this? Well, some of you that are tuned in are on this list. We've got the Bethel Schools. We did a nice video about Bethel Schools we're going to show you next. I know that we're going to talk a little bit about Lamar in Texas, a very big consolidated school district. Who are some of the others on the list there?
We've got Toledo Schools in Ohio.
Ohio, you know that's
Fort
Ohio.
Thomas, I know that's Ohio.
Gina's a millennial, so we challenged her the other day, what state Toledo was in, but she instantly found out.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've got Springfield Public Schools, New London Public Schools, and
Yep.
Lowell Public Schools.
So this is just an example of some of them, and there's hundreds. And I think with live morning announcements, we're probably reaching close to 1 million students on a regular, if not daily basis. So a good way to understand more about morning announcements is to listen to what our customers, what others are actually doing. What sort of success are they having? And one of those is Bethel Schools, located here in Connecticut. We'll talk more about another one in a moment. But let's hear from Cindy Furman, and she can tell you a little bit more about what she's been doing.
Furman, and I'm the Media Technology Specialist at Bethel High School. We do morning announcements every week live on Monday morning. We set up during the week, we prepare them, we write scripts, we do a rundown, we put together full screens. If there's any video, we prepare all that. And then Monday morning, we do them live using Streamzy to bring them to our classrooms. And we also then put them up on demand. So if you happen to miss them live, you can watch them anytime you want, or you can even look back at old announcements in case you missed something that you wanted to see that wasn't there. The kids learn a lot. They learn how to put together a television show. They learn how to do something live, hopefully without mistakes. And then we also have them displaying throughout the school on our monitors throughout the school, so people can see them when they walk in, they can see them in the cafeteria, and they can always know what's happening. Well, our live is, we do it live in the morning. Everybody is encouraged at 9:35 on Monday morning to broadcast the live stream as we do it from our TV studios. And then we upload them into what we call our news channel, and we send that link out, so if any point a student or a parent or anybody in the community wants to watch them, they can watch them at their own leisure. Streamzy is great because that's our way to do it live. Gets that signal out there and everybody can tune into it and watch it as it's happening. Here at the high school, we have an entire TV studio at our disposal. So we have 3 cameras, we have teleprompter, we use the TriCaster system to switch between the cameras, bring in video, and bring in our full screens. So we actually have a real production that is involved when we do our morning announcements. But at the lower schools, they simply will take the laptop, turn it around onto the students using the webcam on the laptop, and do their announcements just from there. They hit go on the laptop and they start their announcements, and they will move in and out of camera or hold up signs or whatever. So you can do it as simple as you want, or you can get as complicated as you want.
Now, Bethel Schools is very, very fortunate for 2 reasons. First, you saw that they have a professional studio or semi-professional studio. Multiple cameras, tripods, a mixing board, green screen. They've got a real TV studio set up, so they're very fortunate. The second reason Bethel, I think, is fortunate is that they have Cindy, who can run all of this and keep everything moving. She's responsible for conducting and making sure those live morning announcements go off well. So Bethel Schools is fortunate like that. Other schools, Lamar Independent School District in Texas, is also fortunate because they're using technology that anybody can use. You don't have to have a full-blown studio. If you do, that's great. You can use it. If you don't, you can do like we're doing right here. We just have a small room here with a green screen behind us, and all we have is one camera and Streamzy. And that's it for the whole setup, right? Pretty simple. I have a microphone here, USB connected into the computer that's running Streamzy. That's how you're getting your audio. Lamar Independent School District in Texas has about 35 schools in the school district, and each school independently does their own live morning announcement. All the kids in the grammar school, one of the many grammar schools, they do their live morning announcement to all of the classrooms in that school, similarly for the next and the next and the next. And the cool thing about it is if you're in headquarters or potentially a parent, you can tune in and watch the broadcast from any of those schools. They're automatically recorded and then are made available for on-demand viewing. So it's pretty easy to do. The typical setup, this actually is from Lamar, a typical setup looks like this. In their case, they're using a room in a library. Every school has a library. Some schools, by the way, just use a portion of a classroom. It's not like you need a lot of space. Here they've got a green screen, a table, chairs, not unlike what we have here, microphone. They have a camera, and this is how they do their live morning announcements. And if you've never seen morning announcements that the younger grades do, it's heartwarming. It's just absolutely adorable, and the kids really pay attention. Here's what their technology looks like. They have a little tabletop with a computer monitor. They can operate Streamsy, do their live morning announcement, and that's pretty much it. And it's actually done by the teachers themselves. Right? There's no IT person coming over and doing it for them. IT sometimes helps with the original engagement, making sure all the technology is set up right, but for the most part, that isn't even necessary. It's pretty much just plug and play. You can be doing this in 15 minutes or so. So one of the advantages we talked about is the kids themselves do the live morning announcements, right? The morning announcements. And to do that, you have a production team. So who are some of the members of the production team,
Well,
Gina?
you've got the anchors like we're doing, and we've got your producers and your directors, which are Mike and Mike behind the counter,
Right.
behind the camera. And that's really good for the students because it's getting them involved and it's teaching them these leadership roles that they wouldn't have with regular morning announcements done
Yeah,
by a
they
teacher.
actually learn how to produce a live show and get familiar with television production, so to
Yes.
speak, right? So that's really helpful for the students, so you get this great student engagement. And then, of course, viewing it is remarkably easy. You're viewing it over the public internet. In the classroom, you can also view it on a web page. You can view it on the TVs and projectors in the classroom, which is, I think, what most of our schools do. But importantly, to the extent that you have digital signage displays around the building, the lobby, the front door, the back door, the cafeteria, like Cindy does, the gymnasium, the live morning announcements can automatically be displayed on them as well, interrupting the regular digital signage and showing live morning announcements. One of the advantages of having an integrated system. And of course, you can view it on all the portable devices that are available today, including Chromebook, very popular in schools. For parental engagement is something we hear a lot about in education. There's always a desire from schools to get the parents more deeply involved. And a great way to do that is to allow them to tune into these live morning announcements or on demand after the fact. And what we've seen, what we've been told by our customers, by the schools, is that indeed happens, right? That the parents just love to see their kids or just the news about what's going on in the school. So parental engagement is something that is pretty key. And what are some of the benefits to the school, do you think?
You get a bigger sense of community, I think, because the kids are seeing each other with the student involvement, so that brings them into paying more attention. Shared student knowledge, one student's a producer today, they're an anchor tomorrow, so
Right.
maybe the producer has to teach the post anchor that they've become into this new role. And impactful announcements, because how many kids would rather listen to kids than the adults?
Exactly. The kids listen to adults yelling at them all day long, right?
Yes.
Not really. You don't yell at the kids. But you know what I'm saying. The kids tend to have a different level of attention when it's one of their peers, reading the news. And they become a little bit of celebrity sometimes as well. So it's really easy to do. Here's all you need. So you have Streamsy, which I'm going to show you in a moment. You plug in a camera, perhaps two cameras. You might have a microphone like I have here. Optionally, you can have a green screen. Now, I keep saying green screen. The technical term is chroma key, for those that are taking notes. There'll be a short quiz next period for that. But the green screen is what you've seen the weathermen do on TV, right, where you got the map and you're standing in front of it. That's what we're doing right here with the PowerPoint. Right? So, but you can do that, and it's built into Streamsy, very easy to do. But again, I know that here in Connecticut, I'm familiar with Dag Hammarskjöld School. not far from our office here, and they do a live morning announcement every single morning, and they don't bother with the chroma key. They just have the school banner, pinned up on a wall behind them, and it's great, right? But you can have as much production value or not, as you wish. So what do you need to do it? Well, for the equipment, you have a camera. And you can run down to Best Buy or Fry's or Walmart and just buy a consumer camcorder, a couple $100 nowadays, give you astonishingly good quality video. Typically, it's going to have an HDMI output, and you're going to plug that right into the Streamzy input, which we'll show you again in a second. You want to probably put that camera on a nice tripod so it's nice and steady. All right, that's not very expensive. A microphone, I mentioned I'm using a USB microphone here, and maybe some lights. Now, the cool thing about the cameras nowadays is that they'll automatically adjust for whatever lighting you have. It's not like the old days where, if you had fluorescent lights, everything would turn green, right? The cameras are pretty forgiving. So pretty simple setup, not a lot of cost here. Some of the tips, if you're, some of our schools have teams of talent. You have the anchor reading the news, and they say, let's go to Joe, who's going to do the trivia question of the day, and they switch the camera over to Joe, and then over to somebody else to do today's weather report. They make a nice production out of it. And if you're going to do something like that, you might want to have multiple microphones. You can even have a microphone mixer and mix the audio, and that's another opportunity for a student to be on the production team doing that. Pretty easy to do, and the level of complexity depends on you. I mentioned the green screen is optional. We like to use it. I mentioned modern cameras, really easy. But if you're doing a live video, and part of your goal is teaching video production, right, which might be a nice thing to do. If not part of curriculum, then as an extracurricular activity, you have an opportunity to explain how these cameras work and to explore them because you're doing a live production. You don't want it to look good, so it's a great catalyst for learning. And then I mentioned, while you can absolutely go in the rear closet and find your old dad's camcorder from 100 years ago, right? The big thing you had on your shoulder, and it has red, yellow, white, composite output. You can use an old camera if you want. Absolutely fine. We support just about everything. But again, an HDMI output will give you HD quality. Speaking of HD quality, our students today are used to HD at home, HD on their cell phones. So quality is an important component of things nowadays. And we want to make sure that our video production meets the minimum requirements that the kids are used to. They're not shocked by low quality video. So you get really, really good quality video. So let's talk a little bit about Streamzy, because this is what we're using right now. Michael is sitting over there in front of Streamzy, and he's adjusting the templates. Michael, why don't you show us what we look when we get big? There you go. There, so there's just, so we can look at, click around a little bit, do a few other templates. So that's all built into Streamzy. So you can adjust the templates on the fly and have a lot of production value. Let's go back to our normal. Oh, not so big. Let's go back to our normal. And actually, why don't I show you what Streamzy looks like? I'll get out of the PowerPoint here for a moment. Let's open up Streamzy. So there's Streamzy. Pretty simple. I have video input A. I've got video input B. In this case, video input B is actually my desktop. And this is kind of important because Streamzy is also used. I need to move it over to the other screen, don't I? Excuse me one sec. I always mess this up because I actually have a dual screen monitor here. There we go. So this is the one I need to go down, and this is the one I need to open.
Still not there.
All right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and close this, and we'll reopen it. Okay, there's Streamzy. All right, now you've got it. Sorry, my computer has I extended the display, so I've got to make sure I get to the right part. So here's Streamzy. Pretty easy to use. Here's your video input A. You can see Gina's pretty face right there. And behind Gina, you notice it's green. That's because there's a green screen behind us, and I haven't turned on Chroma Key on Streamsy. And I could also capture my desktop or have a second video input. And look at that. There's a button for stream. There's a button for record. Start streaming, stop streaming. Really simple. Here's all the template settings. So it couldn't be easier to operate. And again, ideal for students, for teachers, and you can get a really professional result. You also have your chroma key, lower thirds titling. A lot of features are built into Streamsy. Let me go back to the PowerPoint here, which is right here. And let's move ahead to where we were. Okay, so there's our typical setup. Then we talked about Streamsy. Really easy to use interface, inexpensive. Anybody can use it. Teachers, students, executives, and it has multiple uses, which we'll talk about sort of in our summary. Speaking of the summary, we're coming to the end here. Down below the player you're looking at, there's an area where you can ask a question. So if you want something, you have a specific question you want us to address, please go ahead and ask it. If you're viewing this as an on-demand video after the fact, we're not going to be able to answer your questions, right? Because it's not live. But if you're watching this live, go ahead and ask a question, and it'll come directly to us, and we can answer it. Streamsy is also available on something called a Spirit and a Rover. A Spirit is a ready-made encoding platform, has all the capture interfaces, everything all set. Streamsy is installed, configured, ready to go. Plug it in, plug in your camera, microphone, and you're good to go. That tends to be used in a fixed location, in a studio or a semi-studio. Rover is a laptop. Same idea. It's got all the technology installed. It's got enough computing power to do the HD encoding, everything that you need, and it's portable. And you just plug in the audio and video devices via a dongle. It's Captiva. So Captiva is a little device you can plug into the USB port of your computer, running Streamsy, and it'll take in your video, HDMI, component composite, VGA, DVI, whatever you have, and bring it into the computer such that Streamsy captures it, and then you can stream, right? So really simple, very, very powerful, easy to use. Okay, so we talked about capture. So great, Rich, I got the idea here. We can capture video. We can have a studio. How do we distribute it? What's the deal? Two choices. Choice number one is you can stream over the public internet like we're doing right now. And to do that, we have a service called Arcus. It's an internet streaming service. Also a service called Streamsy that will also allow you to stream live over the public internet. And then everybody can just tune in sort of like you are right now. So that's great if you want to reach people that are outside of your firewall. So you're in a school and you want to stream from this room to all of the other rooms. Technically, you can argue that it doesn't make efficient sense to stream up on the internet and then back in for everybody to tune in, right? You can do that, and whether you would do that or have something in your building on the premise has much to do with capacity, how many people you're going to tune in, things like that. So you can absolutely stream on the cloud. We're happy to do that. That's your lowest cost alternative. You can do that tomorrow. For a more sophisticated system, we have Devos. Devos is our complete visual communication platform, and one of the many things it does is delivers live video streaming. It has the advantage of being able to integrate in with your Active Directory. Now, again, most of you are educators, professionals, and not IT people. So if I say Active Directory, some of you are going, what's that, right? Do I need to know that? So Active Directory, here's a way to think about Active Directory. When you go to your computer in your school and you log in, you enter your credentials, your username, password, behind the scenes, there's something called Active Directory, which provides the credentials for you to do what you want to do on your computer, allows you to log into your computer. And it's done by Active Directory. Very common, all systems support Active Directory. Devo supports Active Directory. The reason I'm telling you that is because if you wanted to prevent somebody from viewing some video and allow others to view the video based on the user's login, they can be directed appropriately. And to do that, you'd need something on the premise. That would be a Devo server. So same deal, Streamzy, Spirit, Rover, streaming live to the server that's on the premise. Now you have sort of unlimited capacity. You don't have to worry about how much bandwidth you're going to use because it's inside your network. And once again, you can view it on mobile, desktop, whatever you like. It has an added advantage if you are concerned about certain security. There are some school districts that, I think goes a little overboard with paranoia, if you will, in that there's a concern about having their kids seen on the public internet. Well, you can take care of that by adding passwords and protecting it. But if you want to make sure that it's never on the public internet, you'd want it to be fully inside your firewall, right? And it just never goes to the public internet. And for that, you would have a cloud system. So there's some good Active Directory and security attributes that allows you to, you can engage when you're using a premise system. And again, view it on everything. Cell phone, smartphone, tablet, Roku. You know what a Roku is?
Yes, I do.
What's a Roku?
It's a nice box that you can buy at a Walmart or another distributor like that, and you bring it, you plug it in and play. It's a pretty easy system to use.
Now that's a consumer device. So like Gina said, you run down to Walmart or go online, and it's really sold for consumers to watch Netflix and Hulu and various entertainment sort of packages over the internet for TV. Devos rather uniquely supports Roku, so you can add the Devos channel to it, and all your content can be viewed on there. It has some issues in terms of security because it is a consumer device, but we support that, and as well as Samsung Smart TVs, right? So wide variety of things to view on. So let's talk about a summary. I think we're almost at the end of our material here. So why don't you do the features, and then I'll do the benefits.
You've got live video distribution on just about any network. You've got good network citizenship, good production value, which makes a very simple system to use to plug in. Basically, you just press stream and go.
Like we did right here.
So like we did here. Simple one-click operation, as I just said. Desktop, mobile, TV, and projector displays. You can display this on just about anything, and it's an optional internet stream, or you can just record it straight to Devos.
Yep, those are great features, and some of the benefits: better student engagement, something we all seek. Timely distribution for news and information. Hey, there's a sports team rally at 3 p.m. Rah rah, make sure you let everybody know, right? So and kids pay attention. Really, there's no extra work for the IT staff, on-prem or in the cloud. Really doesn't matter. Put in the system. It's the teachers, the media professionals, you guys that run the system, and IT doesn't have to get involved, mostly because of the great network citizenship that the system offers. So very little training required, display everywhere. We talked about parental engagement, and I did comment a little bit about security, password security, Active Directory security, firewall, internet or not, right? So that's all built in and part of the same proposition. So now for the final part, our commercial. Why should you do it with Discover Video? I mean, you could stream on YouTube, right? And some of you probably are streaming on YouTube. Well, part of the problem with that is that you don't have a full systems proposition. You have somebody else responsible for the encoder technology, somebody else for the delivery. Good luck calling YouTube or calling Google if you're having some issues and can't figure things out, right? So you don't have a lot of support. We think it's better to have a full end-to-end systems proposition that make things work together very, very nicely. Our system is very simple. We are the most experienced doing this in the whole industry. We can back that up with some facts if you want. And the system we're talking about is not just for live morning announcements. That may be your motivation, but A Devo system provides curriculum content, video on demand, automatic recording, TV distribution. It does measurement and testing with our learning path capabilities. It does digital signage, is all built into it, not from a third party. You can support flipped classrooms and lots of other applications, which we'll talk about in another seminar at another time. This is about live morning announcements. Okay, so I think that is pretty much all the material we want to cover, and I think we kept it in about our promised allotment of time, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
What time? 2:30?
It's 2:30,
No,
yeah.
not too bad, not too bad. About half an hour. Let's see if we have any questions out there.
We have quite a few questions. One of the questions that I'm getting a lot is, how much will this cost us?
How much will it cost? So obviously, cost is an important component. So here's the straight scoop. Streamsy, the software, costs you about $500. You could use Streamsy with the Arcus service. That could cost you about $500. Actually, it's like $495. Same thing with Streamsy. I think it's like $495. So for under $1,000, you can do everything we just described, right? Now that's using the cloud system. That's using Arcus, and that is appropriate for a relatively small school or for one classroom. Probably isn't appropriate for a district-wide deployment like Lamar or some of these other large institutions. And obviously, you don't get to do everything else, which we haven't really talked about. A full Devo system, full deployment with all the digital signage and video on demand and storage and terabytes of capacity is around $30,000, right? And we actually have some systems that have multiple servers because it's used very heavily in curriculum in college, university, as well as K through 12. So you can even go beyond $30,000 depending upon what you want to do, right? So anywhere from $1,000 to $30,000 or more.
Can Streamsy be used on the iPad or a Mac computer?
Oh, what a great question. Can Streamsy be used on iPad or Mac computer? Yes. So right now, if any of you guys, some of you probably have a Devo system, and we train you, and there's so much information that you just forget these things. So you can always go to your Devo system, hit the help button. You'll find all sorts of links there. One of those is a link that takes you directly to iTunes. So if you have an iPhone or an iPad, you know that to add an app, you go to the App Store. You can do that on iTunes, or you can do it on your mobile device. Search for Streamsy, and you'll find Streamsy. And you can do the same live streaming from your iPhone or iPad as you can from the desktop. Doesn't have all the production value, but it does the live streaming right from iPhone and iPad. Obviously, you can view it there. You can also record it there. So yes, and the cost of Streamsy for iOS is $0. You need a Devo system in order to work with it, but you can have as many of those as you like.
Is the Discover Video system available everywhere in the USA?
Is it available everywhere in the USA? Yes, everywhere in the USA. So importantly, the very first slide that I think the video was still jerky then because we had a monitor turned on. But right at the bottom of that slide, it says that the Discover Video system is sold by select systems integrators around the country. So we're represented by top-notch audio-video professionals, integrators around the country. Now, we may not have one in your neighborhood, in which case one of two things would happen. We work directly with you, no problem. Or you would tell us which audio-video integrator, which systems integrator, who you like to deal with, and we would engage with them to get you fixed up with a system. But it's available throughout the country, and in fact, we have some international installations as well, throughout the world. By the way, if you're talking about a cloud system on the public internet, almost by definition, that's intergalactic, right? That goes around the whole world.
Does Streamsy require any more LAN distribution with the signal within a school?
Say it again. LAN distribution?
More than a LAN to distribute the signal within the school.
No. So if we go back to, I could probably go back. Let's go back a little bit. So you're asking, the question is, does Streamsy require anything more than a LAN? Well, yes and no, depending upon the meaning of the question. Streamsy, so let me back up. Back in the old days, you used to have an encoder, and the encoder would squirt out multicast. And multicast could be viewed on viewers if the viewer had a player that was capable of viewing a multicast. That doesn't work over Wi-Fi. That doesn't work on mobile devices. That doesn't work. That's got a lot of issues with it. It's great technology, but it doesn't work that well. So instead, Streamsy streams to a streaming server. That streaming server is Devos, Arcus, right? Could be a third party if you were so inclined. And then everybody is viewing off of that streaming server as unicast. The system also supports multicast as well, and you could deliver a live morning announcement, or in the corporate space, a CEO town hall meeting to 50,000 people using the bandwidth of only one using multicast. But to clearly answer that question, Streamsy streams one or two streams for multiple bitrate to the streaming server that everybody views from there. So all it needs is the LAN and, of course, a connection to a streaming server.
Next question. Is
Good
the
questions.
hard drive on Devos expandable?
Is the hard drive on Devos expandable? So Devos, great question. So Devos comes in various packages. So one package is we sell it as software. Not that we ship you a disk and a password, you install it yourself. It's a little more sophisticated than that. But we can install Devos on your hardware, in which case how much disk space and CPU and whatever you have is up to you. More popularly, we sell you a physical server, all configured, ready to go. And that's the most popular is what we call a Devos 16 that has 16 slots of storage. It typically starts off with 3 1 terabyte drives because that's configured for RAID 5. So that gives you 2 terabytes of useful storage. And then you can plug in as many disks as you want, get up to 14 terabytes of storage. Or if you want to double up on that, we could install 2 terabyte disks and you get up to 28, 30 terabytes of storage. If you have been dealing with video for a long time, back in the old MPEG-2 days, not that long ago, video files were typically a gig or larger because they're encoded at insanely high data rates with MPEG-2, and you get these really, really big files. Today, 2016, you don't do that anymore. Everything's encoded in H.264, uses about half the size file size as you would with MPEG-2, and at the bit rates of interest, typically in the 1 meg sort of range. Don't forget, you're trying to reach mobile viewers as well. The amount of storage that you need is much less than you used to. So, there's a more comprehensive answer.
Do you sell the box that gets my HDMI or composite signal into what you're calling Devos?
Do we sell the box that gets your signal into Devos? Well, yes. So let's go here. I think, yeah. So you've got so to get video into Devos, we're talking about live, right? Well, we could be talking about on demand. To get video into Devos, there's 2 ways of answering your question. If you already have a video file you want to add to Devos, you click a button, say upload, and you're done. If you're talking about live video, you need an encoder. That's what Streamsy is. Now, how do I get composite, component, HDMI, any of these video types out of my camera or VCR or DVD? How do I get that into Streamsy in order for it to stream to the server? You use Captiva. And Captiva is a USB device. Just plug it into your computer, and Streamsy picks it up and sees the video, and you're good to go.
Let's see. It says that our video is...
Are you skipping over the embarrassing questions?
A little bit.
Like, Rich, why are you so fat?
Covered that. Does Discover Video provide installation and training support?
Okay. So the question is, does Discover Video supply installation and training support? Yes, of course. Typical engagement is the system is delivered. We and our partners do the installation, the physical installation, which again typically takes 15 minutes. It's just a rack and stack sort of thing. Set an IP address, that's pretty much it. The rest is familiarization and training, and we have a full training crew that comes out. Not only do we, give the owner, the systems administrator training, but we typically provide several sessions of training to the users, to the administrators. We're very committed to your success. So, you need more training, we're here for you. There's online tutorials. There's a lot of help. There's a lot of manuals. We have a support line. We think we're pretty responsive. So I think that's probably it, no?
And can we password protect the live streams?
Can we password protect the live streams? Yes. In all systems, you can put a password in the system. As I mentioned before, if you have the Devo system, not only can you password protect it, in which case I would have to whisper to you the password or send it to you in an email, get it to you somehow. But I could also say, for this video or this group of videos, when you log in, you have to be part of a group that's allowed to see it. Let's think about some content, live or not, some content that is appropriate for the high school but inappropriate for the fifth graders, let's say. So when the student logs in, the fifth graders, they don't have access to the inappropriate content. Perhaps the high school kids do, right? Some health issue or something like this. So you can steer what content is viewable by whom. And in addition, you can also have a password on it. So the answer is yes. I think that's probably enough for today. So I think that's it. Look, if you have any questions, here's our email. Let's go to the end of our presentation here. There we go. Oops, one more. There we go. So if you do have any questions, feel free. You can contact us. Am I pointing in the right direction? No, I'm over there, aren't I? Yeah. So right there, you can send an email to sales@discovervideo.com. Visit the website, discovervideo.com. And we look forward to hearing from you in email or telephone. And thanks so much for tuning in. And this will be posted right away for video on demand viewing, so you can review this wonderful information and maybe even share it with people who missed the seminar. Okay, that's it. Thanks for now.
Bye.
Bye.